Bang. Let's get into it. I was gonna do 3 claps for take number 3. That's what this is right here. I'm messing up over here, guys. I got the wife with me.
Hello.
As you can see-ish. Give that hand again.
I'm here. I think you just see my fingers.
You can see it. You can see it. She's here with us. We got a Joe Rogan clip like you just saw. We got another Joe Rogan clip. He's talking with Tim Dillon. He's talking with Dave Sinclair. One's a scientist, one's a hilarious comedian, and they're talking about CRISPR. They're talking about gene editing. This is a very real thing. And the thing that they touch on that's very interesting that I wanted to bring the wife in for because I needed some more information is because there's a set of twins from China that they have done some gene editing to, as well as other children. You will not believe this story. You got to wait till the end to hear it. It is very, very interesting. But I'm going to start it off with the Joe Rogan clip you guys just saw. As you guys know, I am CoachColin.com. Get your Soul Not For Sale merchandise. We got all sorts of stuff. 10% off. Discount code is I am Coach Colin. All capital letters, all one word, 1 L in the name Colin. Let's go.
Somehow or another activate areas of the spot, which is wild shit in and of itself. Yeah. But if then you make it a fucking super person, like you're literally going to make an Iron Man? Like, what are we doing here? Yeah. What are we doing? And where does it go from there? Because once they start using CRISPR on people. Do you know the Chinese story?
No.
Oh, this is a good one.
CRISPR?
Yeah. You know what CRISPR is?
No.
CRISPR is genetic engineering.
Oh, okay.
It's genetic, there's
Blue eyes,
technology.
brown eyes,
Yeah, well, it's initially they were using it, they were trying to see if it could be used to eliminate genes that cause certain diseases. Yeah. Right? And so this is what they did in China. They said they were inoculating these children for HIV. So now they can't get, but it just, by happenstance, made them much smarter.
Right.
It increased their IQ substantially.
Interesting.
And I think they put the doctor in jail after it was over.
Amazing.
The Chinese were like, we didn't have anything to do with that. This man's a criminal.
Right.
See if that's the case. I don't think I'm fucking that up too bad. I probably am a little. But the story was that they were supposed to be giving them some sort of inoculation for HIV. What CRISPR baby prison sentences mean for research. Chinese court sends strong signal by punishing He Jiankui and 2 colleagues. It's like, what did they do? What did it say? The biophysicist who announced that he had created the world's first gene-edited babies to 3 years in prison. They sentenced him for illegal medical practice and handed down shorter sentences to 2 colleagues who assisted him. The punishments put to rest speculation over whether the Chinese government would bring criminal charges for an act that shocked the world and are likely to deter others from similar behavior, says Chinese scientists. By the way, this thing that shocked the world, they're going to do it on all babies. It's going to take time. They're going to do it on all babies. Right. Because why wouldn't you do it?
To make them smarter.
Well, what if you found out your baby had a genetic defect?
You got to make it better.
Why would you, So anyway, what does it say that he did and what the result was? Because what was very strange about the result was that there was this positive increase in cognitive function. I gotta think that's not a fucking accident.
I can't be.
I can't imagine that they really were worried about these children contracting HIV.
There's no way it's
that's
an
not what you would. That's not what you would think would be a focus. But if I was in a communist country and I was trying to make like the best thing for the government, what's the best thing for the government? Super fucking smart people.
That's right.
So let's get some super smart people on board and run this shit with geniuses.
Fuck yeah.
So I don't know if they allowed him to do it, if they gave him a license to do it, or if he's rogue. But it seems like that's a weird...
It seems like it was probably a wink and a nod.
I mean, they do have unintended consequences, right? Like, wasn't...
There's no way they're inoculating babies for HIV.
I doubt it.
There's no way.
It just doesn't seem like that's what you would do.
Seems odd.
I don't think
sexually transmitted disease, it's crazy.
It seems odd.
Seems like they were probably trying to see if,
Like sometimes they do medicate, like what was Viagra was for like blood pressure or something like that, right? Wasn't it like?
Yeah, there's things like that.
And they find out, it works with this.
Oh, right,
Look at that. But not that.
Right.
Where you're gene editing and you make someone wicked smart.
No way.
What was the increase in IQ that they found, or the evidence of increase in intelligence? Because there was some sort of evidence. I don't know what tests they used. Yeah. But they're fucking super smart people. But tell me they haven't already done that.
Oh, for sure.
We're hearing about the first ones, really?
There's definitely cases, I'm sure, that were experimental.
How would they have tested the IQ? I'm trying to find it right now. I'm thinking about how you can't test a baby's IQ.
That's what I'm asking. I mean, what did they use to detect intelligence?
I remember reading that though, but
yeah, I did too. I just don't remember what exactly they used or how old the babies are. Maybe the babies are already talking. Listen,
here,
I got some shit to tell you.
Maybe the baby's like, listen.
Enhanced ability to learn and form memories, but
may also have an enhanced their ability to. Oh no, but that's just in the title. What does it say down? Like, how did they find out that it?
Well, it may have
goddamn pop-ups.
I don't know if they
the
you have to subscribe to this bitch?
The babies came out and were like, "Fuck Taiwan," and like, God, they're smart.
Right
their
out
first
of the box.
2 words. Yeah,
they already knew.
It's a scary world. That stuff's not going to change
because of the gene that was edited has to do with that.
Okay,
stuff.
now new research shows the same alteration introduced into the girl's DNA, detection of a gene called CCR5, not only makes mice smarter, but also improves human brain recovery after stroke and could be linked to greater success at school. Okay, duh. The answer is likely yes. It did affect their brains, says Alcino J. Silva, a neurobiologist at the University of California, Los Angeles, whose lab uncovered a major new role for CCR5 gene in memory and the brain's ability to form new connections. Sorry, it's getting darker as the screen goes on.
Right.
So we're too cheap to buy it.
Yeah.
What is that website, though? Give them a plug.
MIT.
MIT.
Yeah, they
MIT
need help.
wants your money.
MIT needs help.
You put that out there, kids. Come on, it's for higher learning. We're trying. So they obviously did that shit on purpose.
100%.
Why wouldn't you? Well, you're already in there.
And it's the thing
How
is
about
like,
fix it? Give him a big dick. What if they got him the big dick
Yeah,
gene?
it's hard to even argue against it. I know that we shouldn't, and we shouldn't manipulate life and da-da-da-da-da. But that's not going to win that argument.
No, it's not going to win that argument.
No.
It's one of those things where, when you give people the ability to do something that can substantially increase a person's potential in everything.
Yes.
Why wouldn't you do it? Because you want to be able to do it to yourself.
Competitive advantage.
Yeah.
And you're giving them a big one.
And you're doing that to babies, but I think the idea is to do it to people.
Everybody.
And I think they've done some things to people. Like, what have they used CRISPR on for like a live patient, not an embryo? What have they done with CRISPR that...
Well, they're trying to do a lot with stem cells.
Yes, they're definitely doing a lot with, but that's different.
That's different.
Yeah, that doesn't have nearly the same impact. Like what stem cells do is they allow you
CRISPR
to
is
heal.
like deleting the genes.
CRISPR is like altering the code. It's like a guy who knows DOS and he gets in your fucking laptop. He's like,
Right.
Tim, I'm gonna fix your thing. Like,
Right.
Like you're in the code of the fucking human body.
Right.
And if you can delete genes that have problematic results in a certain percentage of the population, you could literally like eliminate specific
Right.
genetic diseases that people have.
Right.
You could make sure that babies are not going to have any issues as they're developing in the womb. Like you'd be able to correct things ultimately one day. And that's what's going to lead people to get excited about it. And then it's going to continue to escalate. It's going to be something that's everywhere. Okay, so what does it say here? The first use of an ex vivo CRISPR-based therapy to treat a genetic disease, researchers treated a patient with beta thalassemia in Germany in February 2019. 12 more patients have since been treated, and 7 of them have been followed for at least 3 months. None of the patients need blood transfusions in the months after treatment. The first patient with SCD was treated with the same therapy in Nashville, Tennessee in July 2019. This patient, Victoria Gray, has shown remarkable progress. Hear from Gray herself. Early results on other patients are promising too. All patients treated for SCD or beta thalassemia are showing normal to near normal hemoglobin levels. Holy shit. Where at least 30% of them or 40% of them of hemoglobin is a fetal hemoglobin. In bone marrow samples taken from Gray, an additional SCD patient, and 5 beta thalassemia patients, researchers found cells with the expected genetic edit that allows them to make fetal hemoglobin. This indicates that the edited cells have successfully taken up residence in the bone marrow. The only immediate side effect associated with the treatment resulted from the administration of chemotherapy. So only the chemotherapy fucked them up. That is wild.
That's wild.
That's wild. They're fixing people with this shit.
They're fixing people.
That's the positive aspect of it.
That's the positive aspect of it.
Well, at least there's one.
Oh man, that imagery was tripping me out. That's like
right?
what I used to watch when I was like 12, and I was just getting into the devil lettuce, as they call it.
I was just thinking I could watch that all day. Just the brain stuff.
Yeah, it's that's what it feels like when you're doing certain things. But I want to go over to that other Joe Rogan clip. But I would also, your research is touching on this, yeah?
Yeah, for sure.
Touching on that.
CRISPR and the twins.
Yeah, let's just go to this because this guy gives a little more in depth to the scientist and why the scientific community doesn't like this guy.
Perfect.
This what's his name? Say his name for me.
I forget his name. He Zhangqi.
Yeah, there you go. I could have never said that. See, that's why she's with me, guys. that's why I got her here, because I would not be able to do that.
From Shenzhen.
Yeah, exactly. Let's get into
CRISPR. And
turn it up.
Is going to come out of that in terms of like real world application for an adult? I mean, what if people don't know what CRISPR is? Please explain it in layman's terms.
So CRISPR is a term actually was invented in my department partly, so I know it pretty well. It's bacteria have an immune system that cuts invaders, cuts their DNA, and what we've done now as scientists, we've now utilize that system, take it out of the bacteria, and we use it to create designer mutations, designer gene changes in animals and also in humans. So it's a bacterial immune system that corrects genes, and we use it all the time now. It's actually, what's interesting about it is we've been able to mutate genes for many years, but this is dial up a gene mutation. You can choose exactly where you want to make it. And so I think many of your listeners will know that recently, late last year, a Chinese researcher in our field came out and said he's engineered a couple of twin girls with CRISPR to be resistant to HIV, the AIDS virus.
Wow. If they're telling you that, you got to think they're doing some stuff they're not telling you about, right?
Well,
You're
yeah.
have some kids with giant heads and
It's coming.
see through walls, read
Yeah.
minds.
Well, yeah, if you start to see people that are 90 and they're still as young as 20, you know something's going on.
Yeah, that's the weird one, right? If you can, you'd go, hey, what are you doing? Nothing. Just eating healthy, looking good. Take care, bye.
That's right.
They're not going to tell you.
Yeah. Well, so consider this: so the chance of getting HIV in China is 1 in 1,000. So that doctor was seemingly, he thought he was ethical, protecting the babies from something that's, I would say, really rare.
Right.
Whereas, if you really wanted to do something helpful to those kids, and we agreed it was something you should do, why not make them resistant to heart disease or to cancer?
Right.
We can do that. It was weird that he chose HIV as the first test.
Why do you think they did that?
I think because it was a very well understood mutation that would, if you just destroyed the gene, it would work. Whereas with these other diseases, you have to be much more precise. But the reason that we scientists got really upset was that he did it in secrecy and then just launched it on the world. And that kind of thing, because it's a fine line in ethics, you want to be doing that with total transparency.
Right.
And I think he was hoping to become win a Nobel Prize or be a star, and it backfired on him because he just did it in secrecy.
It backfired in the scientific communities?
Absolutely. In the real world, in the media, I was shocked how little discussion there was.
Wow. Yeah, so he did it in secrecy, kind of.
Yes.
You know, when it comes to that government over there, I feel like, you know, maybe he did it in secrecy to that scientific community.
Yeah.
But they probably very much knew about it.
Well, he probably didn't really do it in secrecy. He probably just didn't advertise his work. You know, like scientists aren't going to brag to all the other scientists about what they're working on right now because they don't want to be scooped.
Yeah, that, and also it's kind of like right now, China, I think it's China or Japan, they've been working on creating an artificial brain for years. And they're not going to tell anybody what headway they've made.
No, exactly.
When they're done and they have the robots that are hooked up to this thing, then they'll be like, hey, we got something.
And countries always like being the first to do something as well.
They have to be.
So even if China was like upset about what this guy did, I feel like they were only upset because there was outrage on the international stage. But they were probably still excited that he did something that was the first for them.
They're probably thrilled.
Yeah.
Thrilled.
Yeah.
They were like, what? You made people smarter? We've worked so hard to already be the smartest. In getting into Ivy League schools and everything, and like now you're telling us that you know how to do it? Even more so?
Yeah, that's interesting. I
We
wonder
can get
what's
ahead
going to
even
happen
more.
with those girls.
These twins?
Yeah.
Tell me about these twins. Do you have information on them?
I have a little bit,
Okay.
but they're still very young. I think they're like 5.
Really?
Yeah. So
Whoa.
basically what happened is he was, I don't know, working with or alongside an in vitro lab.
Okay.
So these are embryos of parents who are struggling to conceive. And I don't know if it was consensual, like from the parents, but he changed the genes in some of these embryos.
Wow.
So it's like, I really don't believe it was only those ones.
No, I wouldn't
Like 2.
think so.
Like he wouldn't go into an embryonic lab
yeah, and just
and edit the genes of 2 individual embryos
'Cause you
when
need
they store thousands.
Yeah, I was gonna say, because I mean, we just did an episode on simulation theory, and we were talking about how you need so many simulations. So he would be like, "Well, I got to try this a bunch of times,
Yeah.
and this may be my only shot."
exactly.
You know?
Yeah.
So obviously I'm going to do it with, a dozen, 2 dozen.
Yeah, but
see
it's
what
interesting
happens.
too because not every embryo from IV treatments is viable to be implanted.
Yeah.
So even if he did it to thousands,
Yeah.
maybe they just wouldn't have been considered viable embryos.
True.
Like maybe
And then
the
that's
one that
not-
he did, it just happened to work out.
Yeah, and then it's not his fault if they're not viable.
Yeah,
It's just like, oh, well, this happens.
but also
Rather
they,
than like a scientist came in here and like messed with your stuff. Sorry.
yeah,
you know?
exactly. But they could have been viable, could have been implanted in these people who are having fertility issues already.
True.
Perhaps caused miscarriages.
Yeah.
And
all
then have
sorts of
those
things.
people have all sorts of like emotional trauma about it.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
But again, their government, they're allowed to do stuff like that.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah.
Very
But I also
interesting.
feel bad for the twin girls because now they're going to be watched their entire lives.
Well, I mean, they're from China, right? So they're already getting watched.
I
for their
know,
entire
but it's
lives.
different.
They're always going to be watched.
Yeah. It's different to be an experiment.
Well, I mean, yeah, it's true. But in a sense, not even, I was just going to say China's a whole experiment, but so is here. Like all these societies, civilizations are experiments right now.
Yeah.
The whole melting pot and diversity and putting all these different cultures together. All this is an experiment. Doesn't happen too often.
Yeah.
Arguably, we're doing a crazier experiment than what China has going on. It's true, right? Mm-hmm. It's better, more freedom, definitely. But
yeah.
but they're doing their own experiment of sorts. It's really interesting.
Yeah.
But what do you have on these kids? So they're 5 years old.
Yeah.
And they're smarter.
They don't know. I don't know what Joe and Jamie had read,
Yeah.
but there's no definitive proof of that. But basically what they're thinking is because of the gene that they edited, it was called the CCR5 gene,
Okay.
which has something to do with AIDS. Like you can't get AIDS if you don't have that gene
Okay.
because it attacks that specific gene.
Okay.
CCR5 is also responsible for a couple different things. And I had to look into it further. So that's why I had that
That bigger medical study that you sent me.
huge medical study that was absolutely insane. Let me just pull up the point form notes I have on it.
Yeah, it was this one, right?
Yeah.
Here, I'll switch over.
Yeah.
I want people to be able to see it if they so choose.
Yeah,
It's,
like you can absolutely look up this study. I'm definitely not the kind of person who would understand all of the language in this, and it's super long, but I had it short formed. And basically, it's already a known thing that this gene has a role in immune system and HIV infection. But it also impacts brain functions like learning and memory, but it wasn't really understood. So that's why people are starting to like study it now and figure out what's actually going on with this gene. So it was said that reducing the function of this gene in mice leads to better memory and learning abilities, which is odd because it's like, why would you have something in your brain that limits your abilities?
Well, that's I mean, depending on who the creator is, right? If you went through the bubble of, or the realm of, we were created by like these Anunnaki and we were supposed to just gather gold for them and this and that, that whole gene splicing story that there is, then those people would want to put some kind of governor on our intelligence.
Yeah.
They'd be like, we only need them to get so intelligent. So that's it. Let's put a governor on there. Just like a car, right? You know? Like David Goggins often talks about there being a governor on your mind, which is so funny because this is exactly what we're talking about. And he always says that when most people quit because they feel like they've almost gone 100%, they're probably only accessing 40%.
Yeah.
He's like, anytime you like are lifting something or you're doing anything and you're like, oh, I got to stop. It's like you've hit 40%. You're not at the 90, 95 like you think you are.
Yeah.
Your mind's just telling you that. Because your mind's like, I don't know what's going to happen if we get all the way over there.
True.
We
and like
don't-
we need to reserve strength just in case.
Yeah, exactly. Your mind's still like, are you running from something? Are you like under a boulder? Like, I can't just let you go all out. We're going to die. We can't do that. So go ahead. Sorry.
Crazy. But basically in these twins, they deleted the CCR5 gene.
Would you have that done?
No.
Would you remember what they were saying? You remember what they were saying when the scientist, he was like, you know, if you see someone who's 90 and they look like they're 20,
Yeah.
would you have that done?
No.
No? I don't know. That
No.
seems very, because here's the thing. All the chips in the brain and stuff, I'm not into that. I don't want a chip. I don't want anything like that. But, and again, I don't know how they do this. Maybe they can only do it when you're a baby or something, or you know,
An embryo.
yeah, exactly. But if they could take that away, like if they just do a thing, you know,
Yeah.
like it's not a chip. They
But
do a thing and it's yours.
I don't know. It's funny you say that though, because you're against like
Yeah.
GMOs.
Oh, but what? Yeah, see, that's the thing.
And that's
'Cause
the
it's-
same kind of thing. It's just gene modification.
It is, but that would be pretty sweet. Well, because you also know me, and like I've never seen. I really want to see them one day. I want to see a picture of them, but I've never seen either of my grandparents or my grandfathers. I've never seen their faces. I have no idea what they look like.
Yeah.
I don't know if I look like them. I would love to know that. I'm named after one of them, but I don't know what they look like, and it would be so amazing to be able-bodied, like extremely able-bodied when you have like a great-great-grandkid
Yeah.
and you're like, hey, what's going on? Hey guys, hey.
Yeah.
That'd be insane,
It would be great.
right? That'd be nuts.
But the issue is like you don't know what other side effects there would be.
Exactly.
And that's the concern.
When you brought up GMO, like then you think about it, it's like what happens down the line.
Yeah.
But then what would happen? You know, what would happen? You're running around like a 20-year-old, you're 90, and then it's like, oh, side effect is you die. It's like, all right, whatever. I'm 95.
Or it could just make you sterile and not able to have kids at all.
Yeah. I guess you'd have to go at it after you do everything you want to do.
Yeah.
Like even with testosterone, like I tell you I want to take testosterone all the time.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I want to have kids first because I don't know if it's going to impact
What it's going to do, for sure.
right? Like I want to. Like when I hit like 50, I want to start taking testosterone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, why not? It'd be great. I think it'd be fantastic. I want to be like Joe Rogan. He's
Yeah.
almost 60.
True.
He's almost 60. He's
He
jacked.
takes testosterone. Yeah.
Nobody talks about that.
No.
He's in incredible shape. He's almost 60 years old.
Yeah.
His daughter's older than you.
Oh, yeah.
His oldest daughter.
Yeah, that's true.
Older than you. It's crazy.
That is crazy.
He might be a grandfather. He just doesn't say anything about it.
Yeah, maybe. He doesn't talk like a lot about his family anyway.
He doesn't talk
Which is
about
smart.
the oldest one. It's almost like the oldest one was like, I'm requesting that you don't speak about me.
No, probably did.
Because if you speak about me enough, people are going to look for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she was like, if she has a family, like nobody would want that.
Yeah, you know. All of a sudden you're Joe
True.
Rogan's. Because right away, like if I owned a media company, I'd be like, hey, you want a podcast? I'll give you $30 million to start a podcast.
Yeah. Interesting.
I would love that. I'd be so happy to do that.
But yeah, there's a lot of implications with this gene stuff. Because then it opens the door too to like designer babies and parents choosing to have things edited.
There you go. That when I was going back to that celebrity that I was talking about, I think The Rock did that with his daughter.
Why?
Because his daughter looks like she's a little girl, but she looks perfectly like, and again, this could happen just based on, you know, genetics and everything. But just when I look at, like, she has these crazy blue eyes.
Really?
And it just looks so, it looks artificial. But obviously you can just have that. The wife could just have the blue eyes and she gets them.
Do you know if the mom has blue eyes?
I think she does.
Huh.
I think. But she's like, but again, it's The Rock. He has great genetics. Like, he takes steroids more than likely, but he has great genetics to even be able to
Yeah.
get into that form,
And
right?
be that tall, period.
And then his wife, you know, she probably has great genetics as well, from what I've seen. Because I've only seen like a couple pictures. I don't remember her eyes or anything, but yeah, it could just be that. But
she's like too perfect to be
something
real.
in my, I don't know. It's really weird. I think that with Michael Jackson's kids as well.
Really?
Yeah, because they don't look like his kids whatsoever. But maybe he was just like, edit, like what I had an issue with, my skin color, edit that out. I want that gone. I want them to just be like tanned. I want them to have like bright blue eyes.
Yeah, they don't look.
They look nothing like him.
No.
Not at all. If you can remember what Michael Jackson looked like when he was black, they look nothing like that.
No.
Not even slightly. Not
That's
even
true.
a little bit. Not even a tooth.
A tooth.
Nothing. They look nothing
Not
like
a
it.
tooth alike.
But yeah, exactly. But I think there's some people who are already doing this.
Probably.
Because if you have millions of dollars, I think you have that option right now.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. If they're doing this, and they weren't allowed to do this because this was intelligence. But I'm positive I've already heard about people being able to pick their kid's eye color.
Yeah, it's been like theorized, I think. I don't know if I've ever heard it being
I think it's
like
real.
a real thing.
I think it's real. Check it. Check it out.
Yeah, I don't know.
I bet you that's real.
I'll look it up.
Yeah, just write, can I pick my kid's eye color? I'm pretty sure you can. But that's the celebrity who I think has done it. That's the one that comes to mind. Michael Jackson comes to mind. There's a few people where it's just like, I don't know.
It says no.
No?
It says it must be remembered that no one and nothing can make a baby with an eye color. And that's from a fertility institute.
Lying. Tell them you have $1 billion.
I'll put it in Google. I have $1 billion.
Yeah, exactly. My net worth is $4.6 billion. Can I change my... They'll be like, yes, sir.
Well, if it's possible, then it's definitely kind of an under the table kind of thing.
True enough. Yeah, that would make the most sense.
Mm-hmm.
But it does, like you just said, has some implications. I think Joe Rogan touches on this in the clip, but I couldn't play too much of the clip. But he's talking about how everybody will walk around looking like Thor, and it's so funny because I've had that same thought. Like eventually, whether it's via metaverse or via gene editing, everybody will look however they want to look, right? So you'll be like, okay, I'm going to do Chris Hemsworth, but I want jet black skin, I want gold eyes, blue baby blue pupils. You know, I want shimmering gold on my skin and my hair.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to be 7'2".
That'd be crazy.
Right? You're going to be able to do that.
Yeah.
It's going to get to that point. You know?
Yeah, it's weird to think about.
And it's going to be like, I want my body to be pumped. I want the density to be at 90. I want a very dense body. I want to look like I'm 200 pounds, but I want to be 420 pounds.
Oh my God.
Yeah. You're going to be able to do that eventually.
That's crazy.
It's going to get wild. I mean, look at what we're doing already without access to this. Just BBLs.
Yeah.
Plastic surgery.
True. Which is
Lip
so crazy.
injections. Look at what people are doing already. They're doing crazy stuff already.
Yeah.
Like crazy stuff.
True.
I can't wait to see it all. But I think the intelligence, here's the thing. Neuralink versus what this doctor's trying to do.
Yeah.
Which one's better?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I really don't.
I feel like the gene editing is better.
Better for in what sense though?
Better in the sense of, somebody even brought this up. You're going to get the iPhone, you're going to get the first version of iPhone in Neuralink. That's what people are going to be walking around with.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, think about the first iPhone today. If you held one, you'd be like, wow, this is a crappy phone. Look at this. Right? That's what people are going to have. You're going to have to get updated. You're going to have surgery to get updated. Like maybe the software updates and you're fine. But maybe all of a sudden there's a hardware update where it's a lot smaller. Mm-hmm. Or it goes deeper in. Or like, you know what I mean? Like whatever would happen, like whatever it is. You're going to have some things done. Whereas and here's the thing that a lot of people, no one's talking about this. Elon Musk obviously isn't bringing it up. Who's going to own this thing that's in your head?
Yeah, that's true.
Who owns it? You just own it? Or is it like a phone? Is it like a phone where you kind of own it, but you bought it in a contract, so you're actually paying it off?
Yeah.
You know, so it's not really yours, you know?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you don't pay your bill, because who knows how that's going to work? Are you just going to get this thing and have infinite access forever?
True.
Or are you going to have to pay
a subscription?
Yeah, you're going to have to pay per month. You already have to. We have ChatGPT 4. You have to pay for that every month. Mm-hmm. Is it going to be the same thing? He's releasing his own AI, or maybe he's in the process of doing it, that Grok.
Yep.
Are you going to have to pay for that? Is that going to be the thing that helps you, like in your Neuralink? Is that going to be... What are you doing? You're going to have to pay for this thing. Whereas if you get the gene editing, you're good. You walk away. In theory, you get the gene editing, you're smart enough. You might push the guy over, run out of the place, and not pay him at all. He's like, He figured out how to run like Usain Bolt before I could get a hold of him.
Oh my God.
Happens every week.
But with your comparison between those two things, you're assuming that the gene editing is going to work perfectly, but Neuralink is not.
Well, I mean, because it's technology, right? Technology is going to, I've had too many things. I'm immersed in technology all the time. It always shorts out a little bit. Neuralink won't be perfect. Definitely won't be perfect. I mean, it's not perfect right now, even as they're working on it. The gene editing, on the other hand, won't be perfect either. I don't think all the time. Like maybe it'll be like, we've done it. Now we have to see if you've gotten smarter.
Yeah.
You have to wait 4 weeks, you know?
I think my biggest concern about the gene editing is how do they know they got it right? Because genes are so small, so complex.
Yeah, if you
Like
get
if
it.
they're aiming for one thing, how do you know you got that?
Yeah, like if they get it right, you're just super smart. But if they
Yeah.
get it slightly wrong,
You could be,
What happens?
I don't know, you could be dead at the worst.
Yeah,
You could
exactly.
be blind, you could be deaf, you could not remember anything. Like there's so many things that could go wrong.
can you
So I feel like
imagine?
the risk is higher
Yeah, it
on
is.
something like that versus Neuralink.
Well, yeah, I think. Well, yeah, the risk is probably higher. I think on either side you could pass away.
Yes, I would agree.
I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure. Just because you're going down, you're under.
It's
like,
brain stuff,
yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
Brain and DNA.
So I wonder.
I don't know. Either way, I don't think I would opt into either of those options right now.
Yeah. It would have to get real. Like here's the thing. Neuralink could be 15 years from now and it's great and it's quick and it's just like, man, it's just like a little needle, it's fine. And the gene editing could be 15 years along and it's like it's completely perfect. We have it down to a pill. This is going to go in your stomach, you're fine. I'm going with the gene editing out of the two. Like if I had to
if everything
choose.
was working perfectly.
Yeah, I'm going with the other one, yeah. Because here's the thing. The gene editing. Can you pass that on to your kid? Can you
I
have
don't know.
Can you
That's
have a
the
kid
issue.
and now that kid has that as well? Or has that gene edited out?
I guess we'll see when
'Cause
these twins eventually.
Yeah, right? Because you don't even have it.
Yeah.
So if you don't have it and you're passing DNA on to your child, it's not there,
Yeah.
right?
But then there's also like huge issues. Like if somebody doesn't have the right genes, like as an embryo, would that affect development?
Well, what's the right genes though?
I don't know. But like there's so many genetic disorders. Like even like Down syndrome is a genetic disorder where they have too many.
True. So what happens when you don't have enough?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like you never really know.
Yeah, because you know what? At the end of the day, when it comes to the genes, like you know how and we've talked about this, when someone like gets a nose job, like there's a certain way that your nose is right now naturally. It's this distance away from your top lip. It's this far away from your eyes, and this like it's all set up. Like God did this on like he set it and forget it. Like
Yeah.
don't touch it. He made it and he's just like leave it like that.
Yeah.
And if you change it, it doesn't look right. Like maybe it's the same
Sometimes,
thing
yeah.
with genes.
Maybe.
Because there's no person that I could meet that's had a nose job or had any work done, and I don't notice right away. I always notice right away, always.
Yeah.
Because you kind of look and you're like, oh, this doesn't make sense. Something doesn't make sense on your face.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah, that's true. I don't know. With what I know about genetics, which is not a ton,
Yeah.
but I do have some biology background.
Oh yeah, you did that. Yeah.
Biochemistry, yeah.
Yeah,
I would
yeah.
say that's a big old nope for me, just in general.
Yeah,
Freaks me out.
Yeah, right. I don't know. It's an interesting thing because nobody wants the real theory of living forever. No one really wants to live for 1,000 years because you just watch all your friends die and the world goes into calamity and you got to
Yeah.
live through it no matter what, and it's all this craziness. But again, for me, being able to see grandkids, I would like that.
Yeah.
Great grandkids would be
exactly.
great. That'd be amazing. I'd be like, wow, look at this guy.
Yeah. For sure. Like those
know?
things are great.
And then I fly away because I also have wings now.
Perfect. Perfect.
I have wings, of course. I got them 40,000 years ago. Like ancestors and stuff. That'd be interesting.
Yeah.
You know, can you imagine I can meet my great-great-grandfather right now? He was like alive.
It'd be crazy.
And he's like, hey, what's going on, man?
Yeah.
Hey.
Yeah, and just bopping around.
He's like, these planes are great. I remember when there was no planes. I'm like, okay, yeah, I know. He's like, cars are crazy. I'm like, all right. He still can't use email because he's old. Even though he looks young, he's like,
Yeah.
I don't know how to use this thing. He's still an old guy. That'd be great. What else do you have?
Well, if we get back to this scientist guy who
Oh,
did all
yes.
this
The
stuff.
scientist who actually
Yeah.
did this. Sorry. I
He
wanted to
John
hear
Kui.
about this. Yes. John Kui.
Yep.
That is his name, right?
Yes. So he ended up going to prison for 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
A Chinese prison. But what I found out that was the most interesting, if you want to bring up that, like,
This one?
sure, let me find that one.
Well, whichever one you want. I got them
I
all
don't
here,
know which
I
one.
think.
There it is. Okay. Yeah, I'm looking at this one. So he's working on new stuff now that's still using CRISPR and gene mutation.
For sure.
So he's just trying to do it and say it's like more above board now, which is interesting. So now he's working on using CRISPR to cure genetic diseases, which is always what he was doing. So I don't really understand the difference because he was claiming before, I guess it's not a genetic disease.
Yeah.
AIDS.
Yeah.
It's transferable. But now he's trying to cure something called DMD or Duchenne muscular dystrophy.
Okay.
And it just causes muscles to waste away.
Yes, I've heard of this.
Yeah. So there's a bunch of people who contacted him saying, hey, like,
Will you do this to me?
Exactly.
Wow.
Is there something you can do for me?
And then he's just like, yes.
And he's like, perhaps.
He's like, yes, I can.
Yeah. Or he's saying because he did an interview with NPR and he said specifically, they want me to develop therapy for them. Like he could just be this like crazy kind of mad scientist guy.
Of course.
And using that as an excuse.
You know what? Honestly, how do you not become that when you're in this realm?
Yeah.
And you know how to
you're
do
like
it.
playing God.
You're like looking at things and you're like, that's the thing that makes people wrinkle.
Yeah.
Like if I just think about this for a couple years, I can take that thing away. And it's like, oh, can you cure this thing? Yeah. That's what I'll do. Give me money? Okay. And then you just start focusing on this thing.
Yeah.
And you do the other thing in your spare time.
Interesting.
Then you figure it out. You patent it secretly. You leave this other project. And then you become the guy that like cures aging.
Yeah.
I'd be doing that all day.
The medical community is upset with him in general because he doesn't have any medical training.
What?
He's a biophysicist.
Okay.
So he works really well with like molecular stuff.
Yeah.
But his argument for doing all this now is that he's going to be more above board and do like medical trials. But the medical community is like, he doesn't know how to do medical trials.
That's funny. So he doesn't have the same ethical code.
Yes. So he's just playing with molecules.
Yeah, we're all molecules to him.
Exactly. We're just a collection of molecules and we're like a chemistry set, basically.
Could you imagine?
Yeah.
The world is your chemistry set.
So that's what he's messing around with. But when he was convicted and went to prison, he was actually banned from doing a couple things. So he couldn't do anything related to assisted human reproductive technology. So
While in
nothing
prison
to do with
or
embryos after period
Okay.
for his whole life. So nothing to do with embryos, and it imposed limits on his work relating to human genes.
Really?
Which is funny because it doesn't seem like that's much of a limit considering he's doing it again now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like right now, is he in America or is he in China?
He is in China.
So he's doing whatever he wants. This is basically China just being like, listen, guys, we're not doing embryo stuff. You can slow down on your embryo work that you guys are doing. Don't worry. It's not a race. It's not a race. We're not doing it anymore. And then literally like you open a door and there's just all embryos for this guy. And he's just like, yes, yes.
Yeah, it's wild.
They're like, please make us a super race.
Yeah.
Because, right, like, think about it. It's like, you know, Germany, how did they go about being like a superior race? Well, they had to tear down all the other ones. China's like, we don't need to do that. We're just going to be way better than you guys.
Yeah.
It's just going to be unquestionable.
Well, this scientist is interesting too because he was born in China and then went to university in the States
Oh yeah.
So he went to Rice University. I'm not sure exactly where that is, and then Stanford.
Did you say rice?
Yeah. I know.
Jokes you can make there. Yeah.
And then he went to Stanford, and then he was part of this Chinese program called the 1,000 Talents Plan. So China has been recruiting international scientists and whoever else to come back to work for them.
Cool.
So that's what he's part of. So if you want to pull up that article I sent you about,
Is it the FBI one?
yeah,
It says Chinese talent. Oh yes,
the
yes.
China
FBI.
threat, yeah.
Huh.
So this is an FBI page about exactly what they're doing and why this is a threat.
So this is from FBI.gov,
Yeah.
ladies and gentlemen. What we investigate. Now I'm on a list for sure. I just went to their
I know,
website.
right? I was debating even sending this to you. VPNs are good, guys.
Yeah, well, I mean, that doesn't work at
No.
all. Not
Not
with
with
the
this.
FBI. The FBI, they don't see anything. They just
Yeah.
see you. They just have a satellite, and they're just like,
True.
just go through the house. Just do the thing that goes through the house. Okay, there he is.
Yeah.
That's what they have.
But it's saying the talent plan encourages trade secret theft and economic espionage. So all these people who have been working abroad, they just bring back and incentivize them to work for China and divulge anything that they learned abroad.
Wait, that's what China does with these people.
Yes.
Just, they pull them back, and they pretty
Exactly.
much squeeze out all their knowledge.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I gotta say, pretty smart people.
Very.
Very
Incredibly.
Smart people. Very, very smart people.
And they just don't care. They don't care about what anybody thinks. They just do the best for them
Yeah.
and their standing.
Yeah, you know what? I was saying that in another video because I was talking about how in America, the teaching is to like be ashamed of being white because
Yeah.
you were a slave owner, be ashamed of being black because you were a slave, and be mad at each other because now you're ashamed because of each other, kind of thing. It's, but in other places like Poland, when Poland handled their immigration process, this woman was interviewing the man who was in charge, and she's like, "Have you taken any Muslims?" Like any Muslim immigrants or anything? He's like, "Not one. We will not let one inside." It was like, whoa. And like right away she's like, "Oh, aren't you ashamed?" He's like, you can call me racist, you can call me prejudiced, you can call me whatever you want. He's like, no. He's like, "No Muslims, no terror attacks."
Wow.
Now what he actually meant by that was anyone who wanted to enter legally with
Yes.
proper ID and proper identification, they could let in. But everybody that was illegal, just coming in like the southern border, the way they just say, "Hey, I'm here, I stepped foot, process me, I'm going to New York, bye."
Yeah.
Like Poland's like, "We're not doing that. That's insane."
Yeah.
So it was just so crazy. Like this, he had no shame, and like exactly what you just said about China, they're the same way. It's just like, call us racist, whatever.
Yeah.
I'm not coming over there, so it doesn't matter if you call me racist. I'm staying with China, and a bunch of Chinese like, I don't care what you
Yeah.
say. Say whatever you want. You know what's interesting? The reason that they're like that, I remember I was listening to this motivational speaker, Eric Thomas, and he's like, other nations and other people, like at the most you have a bloodline, you have like your parents to make proud. He's like, the way that they think is they have a dynasty.
Yes.
There's like a whole dynasty of people that they're supposed to make proud, and they do it with their schoolwork, and they do it with their fitness, and they do it like it's a whole other mindset that they have
Yeah.
that's like way stronger than other people.
That's interesting.
Way stronger. I notice a lot of my Jewish friends, I have a lot of Orthodox Jewish friends, they have that same thing where they're like, I'm part of a tribe.
Like you're held accountable to
And
the
there's-
entire community.
Yeah, and there's so little of us that like, I'm a part of a tribe and I do not care. I'm gonna do massive things in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's weird. I try to have that same mindset. It's a lot. It's a lot. But sorry, what were you saying? Go ahead.
That was just interesting. So usually it says how Chinese talent plans work on this page, and it says participants enter into a contract with a Chinese university or company.
This part here? How the Chinese work? How the Chinese talent plan works?
How Chinese talent plans work.
Yeah.
Yeah. About 3 paragraphs down. So they enter into a contract with Chinese universities or companies, and they are usually required to subject themselves to Chinese laws, share new technology developments or breakthroughs only with China, and they can't share the information with their U.S. employer or host, and they recruit other experts into the program, often their own colleagues.
Whoa.
Yeah. So
Whoa,
it's
whoa,
basically like legal espionage.
Yeah, I was gonna say, wait, so they will recruit someone else
Yes.
while, let's say, they're in America.
Yep.
They got a colleague. This colleague doesn't have to be Chinese,
I don't think so.
and they can just recruit him into the thing, and then he also gives all his knowledge to them.
Yes.
Wow.
So that's why I'm like suspicious of this guy being part of this program. Like, I don't think he was actually chastised. Like, he might have just kind of gone underground and not done a lot of public things for a couple years.
Chastised, you mean like punished by anything?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, 100%.
They probably just said like, oh, like lay low for 3 years.
They said good job.
Yes.
They said
and
good.
they probably gave him a huge bonus.
This is the best thing ever. These girls have 400 IQs.
This is exactly probably what they wanted from him.
Yeah. Interesting. Very interesting. How are they allowed to do that?
It's not illegal.
I guess not. I guess. But I mean, it's not illegal. Yeah, I guess.
Like, thinking about it, it's not really...
I guess so.
I was going to say it's not really morally right, but even that is not technically correct.
Yeah, to them it is, I
'Cause
guess.
there's nothing actually wrong with what they're doing.
It's just the only way, the way it's wrong is what happens to the other nation that they extract so much from.
The way it's wrong is that we're on the negative side of this plan.
Yeah, exactly.
That's why it seems wrong.
Exactly.
But like if America was doing that to the rest of the world and calling back like people who were American who had decided to work abroad because maybe they're getting paid better abroad.
Yeah,
or
whatever.
maybe there's
what have
more
you.
opportunities. If we were calling those people back to work here, that's amazing. Then we get all our American nationals back and they get to do great things for our country.
You know, it's a weird, because no one thinks that way. Like, if you go to school in Spain, you know, and it's just like some school, they're not like, what'd you learn? They're like, you didn't learn anything that we're not going to learn at Yale or Princeton.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you went to some place. Welcome back. You have to take more courses now.
Yes.
Because you decided to go to school in this other place.
Exactly.
You got to get up to speed, buddy.
Yeah, when we could be using that as a knowledge base.
Oh, man. I guess.
And again, China's just smart.
But that's the thing, right? Yeah, I guess. Because could it be a knowledge base? I guess, because there'd be some things that you didn't know. The only way that could be a knowledge base is if somebody was working in the Spain government or the Chinese government, and it's like, come on back, let us know everything you learned. That's a benefit. But anywhere else, I don't know.
Well, even like if you think about this guy would have been working probably in a medical lab.
Yeah, see, that's
so
the
that's
thing.
advancements. And they're not doing this to just like whatever kind of business people. They're doing this to like people who are very highly educated and in excellent kind of work programs.
It's almost like their own World Economic Forum, right?
Yeah.
Because that's kind of what the World Economic Forum does.
They're like intellectual elites.
Yeah, well, and they're in all parts of the world.
Yeah.
And then they all have a certain agenda they all uphold the World Economic Forum's agenda, right? And then they all go back to the World Economic Forum every year when they meet up at Davos.
Yeah.
And, you know, I can't prove it, but I think in these conversations that happen behind closed doors, knowledge is being given.
Yeah.
Like, why wouldn't Trudeau and what's her name, Chrystia Freeland?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't they just tell everything about the entire country, what's going on, what's happening, what they plan on doing next 4 years, 5 years, whatever? Why wouldn't they?
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
Wild stuff.
That's wild. A
A lot of moral dilemmas going on in this one.
lot of moral dilemmas going on in the world.
That's true.
I mean, this is just what we're able to find out. You know what I mean? Like, what about the stuff you can't find out? How deep does that go? Makes me wonder. Anyway, what else you got?
No, that's it.
That's it? Guys, like the episode, subscribe, We are heading out, and think about, let me know in the comments, would you edit your genes? You know, edit that gray out, you know, that little thing you don't like, you can edit that out too. I don't know. Six finger, extra finger on the hand, right? Better toes, more splayed out feet, you know what I mean? Instant knowledge. What if you could do that? What if you could edit in some just extra knowledge?
No.
You just know Russian. You know? Through and through. Fluid.
Like a download.
What a weird thing that would be.
That would be weird.
Someone just starts talking to you in Russian and you understand, and you're just like, and
Like
you're
universal language shit.
You're able to respond.
That'd be crazy.
Jeez. Anyways, guys, other than that, we are out.
Bye.